We have a tennis movie that came out with Zendaya, who's, one of the biggest stars in the world. It's a movie that is pretty polarizing. I know some people that are like, I fucking love this movie. I love the music. And then I know other people.
Do they sound like that? Because
Yeah.
I haven't met that person.
Then there's a person who's kind of more on my side. Like, what the hell just happened? What was that? Wesley, it's not a sports movie.
No.
It's not really an effective love story.
Stop. You don't use that word. How dare you?
Well,
love story. Sex.
Where's the
love?
Sex with what is this movie? What is this?
This is the problem, honestly. I don't like, no labels. I don't want to put anybody in a box. I don't want to like reduce anybody's anything. I don't want to cut anybody's wings, but it has to be something, right? And this movie, the plot basically is 3 tennis players at the beginning of their careers as juniors and the like. And moving ahead, what is it? 10 years, 13 years?
It's the Jimmy Connors, Chris Evert situation from the early 70s with another guy thrown in.
Was John Lloyd mixed in there?
He was after.
He was
it would be like
after?
if John Lloyd and Jimmy Connors had been boarding school roommates and had a weird sexual attention, and then both of them were in love with Chris Evert. That's Challengers. That's a pretty good movie, by the way.
She winds up with one of the players, and then the other guy.
She ends up with Art.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I have not seen this movie in a while now, so you're gonna have to help me with some of the finer points.
I'm really not, because there's really not a plot. But go ahead.
But I like the director. The director is Luca Guadagnino. He is an Italian, and this is his 3rd movie in English, I think. And I think the thing that most struck me about it was how risk averse it is. I think it really it should have taken more chances than it does. I think I don't know. I can't say what the plan was from the outset, but I do think that I think that the movie thinks it is subversive in some way, either narratively subversive because you have that ending, right? That we should also say, it's really important to say this, that the structure of the movie.
Yeah.
What?
The structure's all over the place. Hold on the ending, because I have a lot of stuff on that, but keep going. I didn't want you to spoil the ending.
The structure is essentially a tennis match on the Challenger circuit, essentially. On the I think the weekend before the US Open. So the winner of this tournament, if it's the Josh O'Connor character, who was a hot tennis player, fell on hard times, and is trying to play his way back into form.
Well, we know he fell on hard times because he lives in his car. He's at rock bottom.
It's even worse than that, Bill. He has to eat a Dunkin' Donut sandwich.
Yeah, he has
a bagel sandwich.
He lives in his car. He is on hard times.
Yeah. For an Italian director who loves food, like all his movies have a food moment in it.
Yeah.
Or in them. To watch a character eat an American bagel sandwich from Dunkin' Donuts is a real like life collapse. That's how you know the bottom has been hit. And so the structure of the movie is basically this tennis match between these 2 former best friends who were also juniors players together, doubles players together. As singles players, they had really good careers. Josh O'Connor plays one guy.
We're also boarding school roommates.
Who
taught each other how to jerk off.
What?
That's in there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. They
have a whole history. They kind of grew up together, and they have this weird kind of chasing Amy subtext to it. Everything you're saying is correct. And so all of that tension is sublimated, symbolized, allegorized, made metaphor in this tennis match that begins the structure of it, because you go back and forth in time. So you're at the tennis match, and then you're back when they were much younger. Well, you know how we know we're in present time? Because Zendaya has shorter hair and a lot of Cartier bracelets. And just looks and a more serious look on her face, less joyful, because she's now an adult with a kid and more bracelets.
And I don't know if this is so. Zendaya, by the way, is also a very up and coming. She's like the hottest player on the tour, tennis wise. And it's funny because when you watch her play, I don't know if you noticed this, Bill, but she never moves from the baseline. She controls all the points.
This is my wife's biggest note. It's like they never had her come to the net once. They couldn't have CGI'd it.
Well, that's
why she never had to move. She looks like she's playing against a ball machine.
She never has a tennis career, this character, because she's never had to run in her entire life. So the one time she runs for the ball, what happens?
she blows out her knee in 9. It's like a Sean Livingston knee injury. That FYI has never happened in the history of professional tennis. Nobody's ever injured their knee this badly on a tennis court, ever.
Oh, it's really some crazy things have happened to
so
people's
they're jumping back and forth,
courts, but not this.
They're jumping back and forth. They want to set the relationship with the two guys, how she intersects with it. They have this aborted threesome where she's clearly fucking with them. Fast forward to later, she's picked one of them. It's the guy who's had like the big career, but he's starting to lose his eye of the tiger. The other one is sleeping in his car, needs to get the eye of the tiger back. And everything culminates with her on the sidelines because she can't play anymore because even in the 2020s or late 2010s, whatever this is set, you just can't fix a knee injury like the one she had. Just can't.
You fix it now?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
I can't imagine, unless it was one of those things where it's like you almost had to have your leg amputated because the blood, like even then, like Sean Livingston came back and played basketball and that was
true. That's
15 years ago. So anyway. So now she's just a coach watching these guys, pitting them together in the final match. One guy signifies to the other guy, the husband, oh, by the way, I had sex with her pretty recently, screws him up, and then they have this crazy last point that we'll talk to. I just don't know who this movie was for. And I don't know why Luca made it other than like he seemed like he was fascinated by the world of tennis, by 3 relationships intersecting. And that was kind of all he had. And then he was like, let's just go for it. We'll start making the movie. But some people really liked it. I don't think some people care. I think some people just like the vibe of it and the music and everybody looks good. And maybe that's okay. But I was bored.
Yeah. I was hoping you would sort of take me through your watching of this thing because I feel like where it starts out and where it winds up. I mean, I guess in some ways where you're going to go, where it's going to go. It's got a great opening shot, right? You don't know exactly what is happening, but it's basically the Mike Feist character, or the Mike Fast character. I'm saying his name right.
We'll call him Mike.
Lunging over the Josh O'Connor character.
Yeah.
And you're just like on the tennis court and you're like, what is going to happen here? And you'll come back to it, but the movie is interesting enough to make you forget about that. But like, did you know, like, what was your interest in this movie? Was it the sports part? Did you think you were going to get the sports quote
part,
unquote straight tennis movie?
So when I'm watching this as the world's preeminent sports movie expert, which I do think I have that crown. I'll take the Pepsi.
Who's going to dispute
the Pepsi taste test against anyone? So instantly I'm like, how are they going to handle the tennis? How's this going to look? I think in the world of CGI, it's kind of inexcusable not to have the tennis seem awesome because the guys could just be hitting the ball anywhere, but as long as the form looks good, you're fine. So the guys were fine.
Yeah.
They're okay. They had a little too much personality for tennis players. I think you and I both watch tennis, and I wouldn't say it's the most vibrant, gregarious group of men's tennis players of the last 20 years.
They can be. I mean, come on. Like Novak Djokovic is a great. I mean, not that these guys in the movie are those guys, right? Like these guys
here's what it was missing.
Are rung down from.
I know, but tennis players they always have a sense of that they're being watched.
Yes.
They're always like kind of self-checking themselves, and there's a calculation of what they're presenting out at all times, whether it's male or female. And these guys kind of didn't have that, which I thought was weird.
I actually like what Josh O'Connor did with this part. He's the guy, he plays the guy who's down on his luck, right?
Right.
And I really liked how he's playing somebody who is completely lost focus, and what would it be like to kind of have to figure out what is important to you as an athlete. He's
It's a different movie though. I mean, then make the movie about him. That's another thing is, who is this movie about? It's about all three people at the same time and they never really decide. Right. I think it's about Zendaya, but I don't really feel like it is about Zendaya.
I hope it's not, because that character is not interesting. The interesting character here is him. It's the Josh O'Connor character. And
but isn't that a problem, that this is a Zendaya movie and she's the least interesting character of the three?
Yes. But this is also the problem with the movie's sexual priorities too, right? Where
let's just do this. Let's just go with this. Just go. Let's fucking.
I mean, because
let's remove the seal and just go for it.
That's what we're talking about. I mean, this is not a tennis movie. Like, this is a movie where tennis is a stand-in for sex, and the movie is afraid of the sex to be had among all three of these people. And so it keeps giving you the metaphor.
Or even the two of them, when she has sex with them at the end of I'm sorry, we're going to spoil figure everybody who's ever going to see this movie have already seen it.
I don't know, Bill. Every week I get a note from somebody being like, you spoiled this movie.
She has sex with them near the end of the movie and we don't even see it. It's the least sexy movie. It's just weird. To me, part of the problem with the movie, and I really like her as an actress, it's almost like they needed somebody who didn't have all the A+ list celebrity baggage that she has for this part. So it needed to be somebody who I think took more chances with it. Like this is a much dirtier movie than the movie they made. You know what I mean?
So there's two roads I'd like to go down with you.
Yeah.
One is, what happens when this movie gets made in 1988? That's one, but hold that for 1 second.
Or even, how about 1992, 1993, the glory years of Body of Evidence with Madonna and Sharon Stone, like that, during that whole era.
If it had decided to be an erotic thriller, that's a whole other thing. But I'm thinking just like Bull Durham, which is a Beastwick.
Okay.
Like where you get it's a hard R, but the sex, the eroticism, the sort of lunacy of the relationships among the characters is really interesting and surprising. You go back and watch Bull Durham now, you still can't believe that this movie is about that, and Susan Sarandon is basically functioning with Tim Robbins and Kevin Costner the way she is. This movie...
that's a movie that's not afraid of sex.
No, it's about sex.
Yeah.
Right? It's about what happens when athletes have sex or don't have sex, the superstitions around what it means to fall in love with a person that you also are really attracted to, and what it would mean to stop, like to sort of practice your life philosophy in the face of wanting something that is sort of antithetical to what you believe as an athlete or is important to the practice of your sport. This movie doesn't have a philosophy, right? It doesn't. We're talking about Challengers. Challengers doesn't have a philosophy. It doesn't have a sort of like an operating principle, in part because the people who made it don't seem to care about the sport. But if they don't care about the sport, then what do they care about?
Well, and they don't seem to totally care about the sex either.
Exactly.
So it's like a cool movie that seems like it's way edgier than it actually is, which I think is my biggest problem with it.
So it's a vibe, right?
The music plays into that, right?
Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did this.
It's got this pulsating. It feels like it's moving, and it feels like the pace is a little bit breakneck.
But it's also kind of ridiculous. Okay, so let's just take one. Wait. Before we do the sauna scene, I want to back up for a second to point number 2, because I always do this with you. I'm like, point number 1 and point number 2, never get to point number 2. Point number 2, 1988 is one thing, and I'd still would like to go back and think about what it would mean for Michelle Pfeiffer to be in a movie like this. But also, like Zendaya, she has to do something like this because we still don't know what kind of star she is. right?
Yeah, who is she in her 30s?
Right. Dune doesn't tell me anything, right? Dune is not about what a movie star she is. That movie that she made with John David Washington, the other Sam Levinson project that isn't Euphoria. Is it Malcolm and Marie? That is a case in point, but that's not a commercial. That was released during the pandemic. We don't know how people really. I don't know who saw that movie. I know the people who did see it didn't think it worked because it doesn't. But she needs a lot more at bats so we know what kind of star she is and whether she actually is a star, right? Now, we agree that movie stardom doesn't work the way it used to. The things that quantify stardom are not necessarily the number of movies you make and how much money those movies make and how many Oscars you do or don't win when you are as popular as you are. But it's the old metric still means something because they're still making movies and we can still see how much a lot of those movies made.
Well, but wait a second. She is a star. It's a question of what the career, how do you preserve the stardom with the choices you make over the next 5 to 7 years, which, like Natalie Portman, when she did Black Swan, that was like a really important kind of moment for her, moment like the age she was in her career, the type of dramatic choice. And it feels like a before after for her in a lot of ways.
But Natalie Portman's an interesting case because did she ever have a hit movie that wasn't a franchise, right?
Well, she was in Closer.
Yeah, but Bill, I mean, that is a prestigious movie to have been in, right? She got an Oscar nomination, but did she do like a tossed off romantic comedy that like made $50 million in a month? That wasn't part of her repertoire, right? And I think that was a point at which the movies were changing and she was trapped in Star Wars land for a while. And then
you're talking about the old structure of how somebody built together a long-term career as a huge actress, right? They would do a rom-com, then they would do like kind of an indie film with a good up-and-coming director. Then they would do a big drama, and they would just kind of bounce around. Does stardom work like that in the 2020s anymore? Because Zendaya is already like one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yes, but you're saying that, okay, parenthetically, this is sort of aligning with one of my frustrations with this Trump trial, which is that the entire
wasn't
time
expecting this.
We've been like talking about this trial. We've been just calling Stormy Daniels' job is what when they talk about her? What's her job?
Porn star.
Porn star. How do we know? Like, what porn star? We've made that a job. She's an adult film. She's just an actress, period, right? We are calling her a porn star because that's the salacious thing to say. But I mean, I'm taking everybody's word for it that Stormy Daniels is a porn star. As far as I'm concerned, she is a writer, director, actor. I don't know about what kind of star she is. I didn't know who she was until this trial.
But that's part of the rules with porn is that if you've made more than like 2 movies, you become a porn star.
But I think that
we don't do that in basketball. Like not everyone's a basketball star.
No, absolutely not. But
like some people are basketball players.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I think that the thing that's interesting about Zendaya is every attribute that you just sort of put in her portfolio, right? The TV show, the doing an independent movie, doing a big movie, doing these sort of mid-level movies like Challengers. She is operating in some ways on an old model. And if you really want to sort of be absolutist about it, I mean, let's say that they never make another episode of Euphoria.
Which they're not going to.
She really is like a person she's Travolta in that way, right? She was on a popular TV show that made her very famous.
Good analogy.
She does a Star Wars movie. She does a Spider-Man movie. She does this Malcolm and Marie thing. She is in Dune. She wins the Emmy, by the way. She takes Jennifer Aniston's Emmy.
Yeah.
During the pandemic. And it's the most delightful experience I've had with a thing that I didn't think I was going to care about. Because, I mean, anybody who watched that show knew that nobody was giving a better performance on TV than Zendaya on Euphoria.
Right.
And now here she is at this very interesting inflection point in her career. Like, what is she going to keep doing? And what is she going to be like steered into and away from as a star? And I think
Do you think she's the biggest female star we have?
I don't know what that means. This is part of what we're talking about. Like,
well, all right, I'll rephrase the question. How many actresses can open a movie that will at least commands people's attention, that if there's good buzz about the movie, people go to the movie theater to see it because they're the star of it?
Is Taylor Swift an actor?
No, she's not.
Okay, if we can take her and possibly Beyonce off the table, then, yes, there's nobody. There are other people, right? Like Jennifer Lawrence.
I don't think she counts. Jennifer Lawrence made movies that people didn't go to see.
But if Jennifer Lawrence made a movie a year, right? Like, and technically, I guess you could say she has been making a movie a year for the last 2 or 3 years. But I think that the business, I don't know. I feel like No Hard Feelings was a thing that, I don't know how much money it made. I know it wasn't a huge hit. But it was also a movie that was about sex, that was both afraid of the sex that it was about, and didn't go far enough, in my opinion. I liked it, but it was afraid of itself. But she would have gone as far as the movie would probably have asked her to go. But I think the movies are kind of afraid to ask people to take these risks, right?
But this goes to a passion point of mine because of all the rewatchables movies we watch when we go backwards.
Right.
In general, sex seems to be disappearing from movies, and I'm not in the same way, and I'm not sure why. And some people have talked about this, but just in general, you watch
spending
movies
my summer
from the
writing
80s,
a story about this. This is my summer.
You watch 70s, 80s, 90s, especially like we have, I'll just spoil, we're doing Fast Times for the next rewatchables. And just the way that movie comes out in 1982.
Wouldn't make that
and the
now.
way, well, you wouldn't make that now, but the way that movie treats sex is really interesting. And I just don't think it would be treated the same way in 2024. But in general, like, it seems that there was some article, I want to say I read it a week ago, about how there's way less sex in movies, but the sex that's in movies is way more over the top.
Yes.
And I don't know what that means either.
But it's over the top in the sense that, it's ridiculous. It's not, and it's also not sexy, right?
Well, did you think the threesome scene was, what was that? Well, first of all, it stops. But was I supposed to, I just don't know. I thought that was such a kind of weird scene, and it felt like they were going for it for a split second, and then they paused the brakes.
Well, this to me goes to the heart of the problem with this particular movie, which is that there's not a lot visually going on with it. And this is a director who has a really good eye. I don't know what the hell he's doing in New Rochelle, New York, with all respect to, this is not about New Rochelle. It's just about this Italian guy not knowing how to live up to it. Instead, he lives down to it. And the movie's sort of condescending about where it even is. It doesn't want to be there. And honestly, it could be anywhere. In fact, I believe anywhere is Boston. It looks like Boston to me. 4 Point Channel is where it looks like that movie is set. At least
they just
in the
try to make
scenes.
it seem sunny and rich, and I don't know if they 100% pulled it off.
Rich, you mean like in terms of the dappled
the kind of
light
place, the kind of place that would have a tennis tournament.
Yeah, except
Or
no,
rich
because
adjacent.
it's sponsored by Mike. It's like Mike's Tires sponsoring this tennis tournament. It's presented as a joke.
Wait, we got off track. As usual when we do pods like this.
We're talking about sex. We're talking about
I still like
sex.
Zendaya. I don't know if career-wise she was ready to be in a movie like this, which is why they scaled it back.
I think it's perfect. I mean, there's
like if Alexandra Daddario's in this, is this movie different?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bill. Yes, it is different because I think that the movie would be more like
if mid-90s Halle Berry was in this, is the movie different?
That's mid-90s, like
if
Boomerang,
late 80s Robin Gibbons was in this, or early 90s Robin Gibbons.
That actually might be more apt in a weird way. Because in my mind, Halle Berry, even in Boomerang,
that's the Zendaya part.
Right. Yes, but it's got more of a, like, Halle Berry has more of a something in that movie than Zendaya has had in any movie she's been in. Yeah. Right? Like, nobody's given her a part as good as Euphoria in the movies. Just nobody. It just hasn't, she has not been challenged by a movie.
Do you think that's a problem, though, in its own way, when you have this iconic generational part? Because I'm with you. I think her in that show is one of the great performances of the last 15 years.
Yes.
And I don't know how you really replicate that in a 2-hour movie.
You don't.
And also, Rue is such an indelible character that she would make faces in Challengers, and I still have my like Rue baggage. I'm like, oh, that, and then I don't know what I'm watching. Like, it's almost like that character is too huge and too important. Tough one to break out of.
I mean, so what do we learn about Zendaya from watching Euphoria? She's got a great face, right? She's got a face that if she had no dialogue, can tell a story.
This is an important category, the no dialogue face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the thing about the show is,
watch her and you're like, what's she thinking?
Yep.
Oh,
and her face will tell you. Her face will tell you. Even behind all that hair. But the other thing about the show is that it breaks the fourth wall. And so she is a comedian, right? She knows how to be funny, how to communicate inner thoughts that reach an audience and makes it laugh. But the other thing is the show is narrated. She's got a voiceover she can do every once in a while. And she's really good at that. And there's just no movie that she's done that has let her come even close to what this show asks her to do and allows her to do. And to the question of like what a movie star is, even Julia Roberts in her worst movies, like her like did AI do this? Because it's just anybody could have written like Sleeping with the Enemy. But you put her in it, and this is like, if they want to just like keep remaking things, just somebody like a real genius, a real managerial genius would just be like, you know what, my client will just from here on out be remaking Drew Barrymore movies. We'll just be remaking.
How about Notting Hill? Just do Notting Hill again and put it in Italy or wherever. Yeah.
My client Zendaya is just going to be doing Julia Roberts remakes for the next 10 years. And it just would at least material-wise give an actor who just wants to like be in a movie something to do.
I like Dune I thought that was a really cool choice.
The second one?
Yeah.
Or just being in the series at all?
Just being in the series. I think it's a good, it's a mysterious, it's a different look, but it's smart. She needs, like we did the Jerry Maguire rewatchables a couple weeks ago, and I always make this point about one of the things I love about Jerry Maguire is he's just Cruise being Cruise for 2 hours.
Yes. I mean, it's a great point.
This was not a Zendaya being Zendaya movie for 2 hours. So I'd like to see her.
Bill, we don't know what that is. What does it mean to be Zendaya for 2 hours? We don't know yet. We really, do you know?
No. All right. So the tennis in this movie, we mentioned this earlier, it's okay. The guys it's passable. Zendaya, even though she doesn't move to the net ever, she's got some weird forehand thing.
She doesn't move.
She's got some weird forehand thing where it's like the torque on her forehand, instead of having her blow out her knee, she should just like her elbow just should have come out of her arm.
I mean, it's really.
But the ending of this movie.
Third set tiebreak.
So I made my list of the worst sports movie endings of all time. And I don't know if this counts as a sports movie, but I'm going to assume it does because it's sold as a sports movie. It's marketed as like a sexy sports movie.
Yes. We've been talking about it a lot.
It has a climactic scene at the end. I'll just go through this for you. The worst sports movie ending of all time is The Fan with Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes, which ends in a pouring rainstorm
I remember
with
Tony
Robert De
Scott.
Niro's stalker character kills the umpire, puts the mask on, and calls some of the game. And Wesley Snipes is the Barry Bonds guy, and he's at the plate, and he starts arguing with the ump, and it's pouring rain. They're not calling the game. It's like a monsoon. It's like a borderline tsunami. So nobody can see it's the umpire because it's raining so hard. And then we end up in a knife fight at home plate. It is the worst. I can't believe they did it. Fever Pitch, which is a reprehensible movie, but it ends. It ends, and it's like he's got tickets and whatever.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the Red Sox win the World Series as they're filming this. And at the end of the movie, they use real life footage of the two characters just running on the field as the Red Sox are celebrating. And it's like, what? How did they get on the field? What's happening? It's an abomination.
Bill, can I pause you for 1 second?
Yeah.
When Drew Barrymore comes on to the field at Fenway Park.
When she jumps like 20 feet.
And survives. Yeah.
And then they don't arrest her on the spot. They just kind of let her work out her rom-com drama on the field. I
found that moment I was so overwhelmed. And I was living in Boston. This movie was a front page story.
Wait, are you going to say you like that moment?
I love that.
Oh my God. Come on.
I really do.
Jesus Christ.
I know it's ridiculous, but there's something about...
I'm not even dignifying that. Just stop. Next one. Ice Castles. Robbie Benson. Late 70s.
Oh.
Figure skater.
What's the ending there?
Figure skater who she hits her head, loses her eyesight, but she's such a good figure skater. She decides to do her routine anyway. And she just sees it all blurry.
Yeah.
Lynn Holly Johnson. So she does her routine. At the end, people throw roses on the ice.
Oh, yeah.
And she trips over them. She starts tripping over the roses because she's blind. And Robbie has to come out and help her skate away. And everybody realizes, oh, she's been blind the whole time. It's awful. The Scout with Brendan Fraser.
Oh, boy.
Wow,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he gets called up. He throws a perfect game. 81 strikes, no balls. That's an actual ending of a movie. Eddie with Whoopi Goldberg, a movie that I still support and like, but it ends on a Larry Johnson charge that Dwayne Schittis takes. The movie ends on a charge call. The Color of Money with Paul Newman and Tom Cruise, which we've done on the rewatchables. This is just me. It's my list.
This is just you. I know.
I fucking hate that we don't know who won the game. Fuck that. Rocky Balboa, the sixth one. Antonio Tarver. It's an exhibition match. He breaks his hand in like the second round. They fight for 9 more rounds. Tarver's corner doesn't stop the fight. It's an exhibition. He's a champ of the world. No, keep fighting. Maybe you'll make your hand worse. Major League 2, which just rips off Major League 1. And then last but not least, Challengers, which ends with 2 guys moving closer and closer together, hitting a ball pickleball style and moving closer and closer, finally ending with an overhand slam where they're 2 feet away. I don't know how many of you out there play tennis. It is so hard to play tennis with somebody when you're inside closer to the net like that, just to rally, even if you know what the other person's doing, just to rally back and forth. They're making it seem like they're like fucking smashing at each other. Yeah. It is the dumbest, stupidest. This might be the new number one this might be dumber than De Niro and the Fan.
Well,
it really might.
You just said what is taking place in the world of the tennis match. But then what happens? You get a Sopranos ending.
Right. So it cuts to Zendaya, and finally she has gotten these guys to compete with each other. So she's like Richard Williams now. It's like, finally I've gotten my daughters to compete. Yeah, she's turned on by it, and she goes, "Come on!" Yeah. And the movie ends.
Yeah.
So the point was what? Her goal in life was to just get these guys to have a competitive fire with one another again. How about your kid?
Basically.
You have a 5-year-old kid, by the way, over there. Maybe spend some time with her.
Her mom is raising that baby. You saw it.
Great job.
That mom is just coming in and out of the hotel. Like, I've got it. And Zendaya is just like, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. And then, the mom goes into the other room.
We joke on the rewatchables all the time. I am here and I'm available for a sports movie consultant agency. Just bring me in. Just one day. Just cut me a check. I'll come in and you'd be like, so Bill, here's what we're thinking about our last scene. The guys are going to move closer and closer together and keep hitting the ball as hard as each other. And then it's going to end with an overhand smash where the guy goes over the net. And I'd be like, no. Let's back to the drawing board, guys.
I just want to say one thing. This is a movie made by the same guy who did a remake of Dario Argento's Suspiria, one of the great horror movies ever made. Just freaky deaky, cinematic as hell. Luca Guadagnino, is he's not interested in the things that you're interested in.
Definitely not.
Right? He does not care about the tennis, who won the match. These things are not important to him. And yet,
it's the vibe, the style, the sound. That's what he cares about.
Yeah, but I think that if I don't want to impute intent, but I also feel like as a person who was trying to make an investment in this movie, I don't even know if I didn't care who won the tiebreak. I didn't care if the Josh O'Connor character goes to the U.S. Open.
Did you care if she ended up with either of them?
I didn't care. Well, Bill, I didn't care about any of it. I didn't care about any of the characters.
Well, we're not going to talk. We got more stuff to cover. I really like the bigger splash, and Call Me by Your Name obviously those two, he figured out, here's my intent for this movie. I'm going to create a whole world. I'm going to take you into this world in these characters. And I don't feel like he did it with this, but other people liked it. So kudos to them. Okay. Summer movies. I didn't even tell you we were doing this.
Fourth movie in English, by the way. This is fourth movie in English. Okay. You said a bigger splash. I just remembered that happened.
Summer movies. We started out with The Fall Guy. Just go quick. Did you like The Fall Guy?
I did. I mean, it's not great, but it's like, we're talking about like what a movie star is. You know, as a movie star, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt.
Does he have the mantle now? Is he our most reliable A+ list under 50 star?
If they hadn't spent $200 million to make this movie, the cloud over it, I think, is kind of tarnishing like whatever momentum he seemed to be having as a movie star. But like I was thinking about this on the way out of the theater. One of my favorite Ryan Gosling movies was that The Fall Guy, not The Fall Guy.
Drive?
No. The thing with Russell Crowe. It also has a similar title to The Fall Guy. It'll come to me.
The Nice Guy?
The Nice Guys, something like that. Yeah, The Nice Guys. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It is a quote throwback unquote because it's set, I think in the 70s. The two of those two guys have such an easy rapport with each other. This movie is not trying to like take anybody to the Oscars. It's not trying to change the world. It just wants to be a movie that entertains people, and people didn't really want to see it. But that to me was Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe when we like the very last thing he did that we kind of maybe were interested in Russell Crowe. I really
didn't see the Exorcism movie.
I did see it.
I like Gosling. He's number one for me right now, just from a sense of, I think he has the highest approval rating. By the way, so Zendaya probably has, if not the highest, way up there for approval rating. We're just that most people like her. And the thing I always compare it to is like, if you're at a party and somebody's like, I fucking hate so-and-so. And if you were sitting next to somebody and like, I fucking hate Ryan Gosling, you'd be like, what? Why don't you like Ryan Gosling? You know what I mean?
Approval ratings, this is like polling in elections, right? Like, I don't really care what the polls say. Just like who won, right? Like what are the charts saying? What are the numbers? I too believe that Zendaya has star-like qualities. I just need more movies, right?
We agree.
I don't know.
Next one.
Yes, Ryan Gosling, bar none.
I think that movie's a win for him because if people didn't see it in the theater, at least part of that has to do with college ending, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, like just a bunch of, it's getting nice out again. May 3rd is a dicey date.
I don't really want to go
and I think people are going to rent and pay-per-view the shit out of it.
Yeah, war, protest. There's all kinds of things that are
some
keeping
real life
people
shit going on. Yeah.
Out of the movies. Yes.
Yeah. If with Ryan Reynolds, give a one sentence take.
I mean, why?
Okay, that's great. Good enough.
I mean, he's Ryan Reynolds. It's so interesting to me, a person who could have I mean, this is like Ryan Gosling has already committed his market corrections. Although Glenn Powell being in the mix is a kind of interesting proposition.
My guy Glenn Powell is lurking now.
Yeah,
he carried the rom-com with Sydney Sweeney.
He wants it, right?
Yeah,
this is a guy who is willing to do the work, and I find him very exciting.
Well, but the other thing with him is the Top Gun Maverick getting delayed for 2 years was almost like he was like an athlete who had a torn ACL or something. Because I think all this would have happened 2 years earlier for him. And him and Miles Teller felt like a pause button did a little bit because it took so long for that movie to come out. Then it came out and both of those guys went to another level. But everyone likes Glenn Powell. Nobody's like, I don't like that guy.
I didn't want to, but goddamn. I mean, and he means it, right? Like, this is a guy who will play maybe anything and play the hell out of it, like, and not to win anything.
Right.
Because it's his job.
Well, that's he's
doing his job.
Hitman, which comes out on Friday.
Okay. I have not. Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it. Link later. Okay. Very excited for it. And then Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So I'm going through this list because I actually think once you start out in May, this is like, hey, pretty good summer movie list. I like, some different kind of looks. We got big stars. We're doing well here. And then kind of goes sideways. We move into Inside Out 2. We move into Bad Boys Ride or Die, which alternate title would have been Bad Boys. Why? Why, guys?
I think, can I just say one thing about Will Smith real quick?
Yeah. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I wonder if part of where he spends the rest of his career, or like a significant part of it, I don't know what atonement looks like from him. But I wonder if like just playing characters that we already loved him in,
just doing greatest hit karaoke.
Yeah. Just hiding in his
I'm gonna
filmography.
I'm going to read you a sentence from the synopsis of this movie on Boston.com.
Boston.com. I miss you guys.
When Mike and Marcus attempt to investigate corruption in the department, they are set up as fall guys and must prove their innocence while on their run.
Oh, no, it's a metaphor.
They're on the run. Well, it's tempted to expose corruption.
Oh, no.
So they don't even have like a splinter of a new idea. This movie's been made 20 times. Good luck to that.
Serpa can't. Okay.
There's a movie called The Bike Riders coming out on June 21st.
Let's talk about
Butler, that. Jodie Comer, Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon, and our guy Mike Feist.
Jeff Nichols made this movie. The guy who made Take Shelter. I mean, this is going to at least be for real at the very least, right? Like, it might not work. It might be ridiculous. From the trailer, it looks like Tom Hardy. I don't know, but I need Gerard Butler. Oh my God. Austin Butler is a guy who I need more proof. I need more proof. And this is exciting to me because I want to like this guy. And if this is a movie, no matter what, like, if 10 people, more than 10 people, if this movie is even a little bit of a hit, I think this is another one of these. It's like an elevator. Like, he makes another one of these. Jeff Nichols might be too good a director for what I'm talking about here. Like, just like Luca Guadagnino sorry. He's almost too good a director for challengers. I don't love his movies that much. But I mean, that movie needed like a Ron Shelton or a James L. Brooks, right? Like, very solid, good
James L. Brooks,
imaginative directors who like people, right? I don't think Luca cares about people necessarily. He cares about situations involving people and the discomfort and the like attractions and that sort of thing. But these are like the American version of this are like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. This movie, Challengers, could have been something like that, where you've got a situation of two men and a woman trying to like manipulate each other into doing what one of them ultimately wins in terms of the desire
we have a
that
voila
they
ending at the end. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I just think that
I don't know about the Bike Riders feels like critically acclaimed, doesn't do well in the theater, and then a lot of people see it when it's on demand.
I think people really want to like Austin Butler. I do. And I don't know if this is the movie, maybe, but I don't think he can do anyone but you. I don't think he can do that. I think this is what he does. The Elvis thing was not a joke, I don't think. Like, I think there's like a brooding.
I liked him in Once Upon a Time in America, in Hollywood too.
What did he do in that movie?
He played one of the Manson guys.
Oh, right.
He's good in that. He's like fucking creepy in that movie.
Now you said it and now I can see it. No, I really like him. So I'm looking forward to this.
The next week, the most Wesley movie on the list is out. Kinds of Kindness from the Poor Things director. It's got Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe and his giant penis, Margaret Qualley. Just keeps going and going. Taylor Swift's old boyfriend. And
is he
I'll give you the synopsis.
Okay.
Kinds of Kindness, this is again on Boston.com, follows 3 connected stories. That might be a red flag. A man without a choice who tries to take control of his own life. A policeman who's alarmed that his wife was missing at sea has returned and seems a different person. And a woman determined to find a specific someone with a special ability who is destined to become a prodigious spiritual leader. Seems like we're taking swings.
Yeah,
Poor Things guy takes some swings.
I mean, that's all he does. Have you seen his earlier Greek movies? I mean,
I have not. Not on my list.
They're some of the most uncomfortable, unpleasant, psychologically bizarre, but extremely watchable. Like, it's all about like gamesmanship and these sort of metaphors for power and control and domination. So those plot synopses, you got to multiply that by like 100 when it comes to the filmmaking. Yeah.
June 28th, we get A Quiet Place Day 1. I'm not sure why we keep making these.
I don't either, but Lupita Nyong'o is the star of it. And the trailer, I mean, talk about doing their job. That woman is doing her job in that trailer anyway. It looks like, I don't know.
Well, I didn't see the second one, so I don't know if that disqualifies me from seeing the third one.
Bill,
I don't know if they're connected.
I don't think these movies work like that.
Well, here's what gets really sad. July gets sad.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
July 3rd, Netflix, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Oh, boy.
Now, bright side, Rosewood and Taggart are back.
Yeah. Wait, were they not in?
They were not in 3. I think actually Judge Reinhold was in 3, but Taggart was not.
John Ashley, I really love him.
I don't have high hopes for this, but I do
John
like
Ashton,
that.
sorry.
John Ashton. Yeah, I don't have high hopes for this. I'm glad John Ashton's alive. But if Rosewood and Taggart are in it and prominently involved, it says in the plot they help Axel solve the mystery, it means I'm going to watch it. So I'm already like banking my disappointment for July 3rd range because I know I'm going to get sucked in and I know I'm going to be disappointed. Like, what are the odds this movie's good? Like 1 out of 20?
They're low. But I mean, I don't know. You know how I think the stakes in every movie, in every sort of Hollywood movie these days, they're too high, right? Like failure is too catastrophic and success bodes ill for what comes in its wake, right? I mean, no matter what you say about Barbie, the only lesson they learned was IP, right? And that's what kind of lesson is that? Because we've been living that lesson to the extent that it's a lesson at all. The plague of IP, we've been living in that. That was just an occasion for them to like be so IP'd out, because you know how it is. They don't really do things like give a Greta Gerwig a property like that until everybody else has had their turn. And lo and behold, a miracle happened. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like the idea of a 4th Beverly Hills Cop movie reeks of desperation. But what if it's just like, could that movie just be like merely satisfying and you'd be okay? I don't know. How high are the stakes? Do we
he has a new partner, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
I think it's going to be bad. I don't have high hopes, but Eddie Murphy, one of my all-time favorites. I have to support I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be happy about
I'll watch it. But
we have Despicable Me 4 is coming out.
great
in July.
trailer. Have you seen the trailer?
Solid
I'm
trailer.
looking at my engineer.
I'm out.
Right
I'm
now.
out of the whole kids
Like-
movie genre now because my kids grew up. I don't have to watch them anymore. It's great. There's a horror movie called Long Legs on July 12th from Neon that everybody's all fired up about. That has
Neon,
the girl,
hottest studio in the movies.
girl from It Follows, Nick Cage. So I'm excited for that. And then Twisters,
Glenn Powell.
the Twister remake.
Who's this woman? Who's the woman in this?
Daisy Edgar Jones from Where the Crawdads Sing.
Right.
I'll probably watch it.
I'm in. I'm watching it. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Deadpool and Wolverine is July 26th. I have no comment.
It's an interesting idea, though. I do like because
Wesley. No.
Wait,
no.
wait, hold on.
No.
At the end of the day, it's two movie stars, right?
No.
And I don't have an argument to make. I'm just curious about what at this point Hugh Jackman is bringing to this part. Again, more desperation. It's obvious, right? But
sure.
I just feel like, well, all right. I really wish that people like Hugh Jackman who don't, I mean, I don't know what his finances are like. I should not say it this way, but like, what is in another Wolverine movie for a guy like that, right? Like the same with Eddie Murphy in this Beverly Hills Cop movie. Like, I think this is the point where people should be taking, like, Hugh Jackman should be trying to get the Music Man done. You know, like, I mean, he can do what he wants. I'm not in charge of his career, but like, I just would love to see Hugh Jackman, like, do what he does on stage in the movies more. Because at this point, we have seen you masculinize yourself to the point where, like, it seems like you're going to die on the set of the movie. Like, we really do worry that Logan, you know, that you could have died making Logan. Like, what would it mean to, like, just, like, bring some levity to your movie star self?
I can't believe we spent this much time talking about Deadpool versus Wolverine. Come on.
I don't know.
This is why movies suck, because we keep making movies like this.
I know. I love Hugh Jackman, and I just want to see him in things that are not this.
I'm excited for The Instigators with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck. Filmed in Boston in 2023.
Whose movie is that?
Doesn't say on this stupid thing I'm reading. But it's a Heist Goes Sideways movie. So there's two versions. There's a Heist Goes Wrong. Heist Goes Sideways.
What could that possibly mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It goes sideways. And then we have a movie. So this one, I'm just going to read this to you. Oh, Doug Liman is the director.
Ah, okay.
Our guy Doug.
I mean, I don't love him, but I mean, that's somebody. And it's not a person who's too good for the material. You know, it's not like Jeff Nichols is making whatever that movie is going to be.
I'm going to read you the entire blurb for Trap on Boston.com.
Oh, what is this movie about?
Well,
it's Shyamalan, right?
M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yep.
Josh Hartnett plays a father who takes his daughter to a concert for her favorite singer, Lady Raven. But it turns out the concert is an elaborate sting to catch a serial killer called the Butcher, who is, gasp, Josh Hartnett.
Wait, we already know it. Is that the twist?
I think they want us to know because that still leaves room for the twist.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have Borderlands, which is a video game remake. We have Blake Lively in a Boston set.
Oh, no.
Looks like a rom-com type of thing.
She didn't learn?
No, we're back this feels like a comeback movie for her.
With another Boston accent?
No, I don't. No, see, that would, if she was the girl from the town 15 years later, obviously Russillo would have to be the lead.
There is a movie I would watch.
Now that is first day.
Let's talk about Heist going sideways.
Right. The August 16th, we have The Union. You know, sometimes
we're already in August?
Yeah, mid-August.
Oh,
we have
bad.
The actors who've just made too many movies and it becomes Mad Libs and it's like, hey, these two haven't been together. Mm-hmm. Well, I present to you Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Doing what?
Mark Wahlberg plays Mike, a down-to-earth construction worker who's
How many
thrown into the
mics has
world
he
of
played?
he's thrown into the world of super spies and secret agents.
Oh no.
When his high school girlfriend Roxanne, played by Halle Berry, recruits him for a secret U.S. intelligence mission.
Oh no.
So that's that. We have Alien Romulus, and we have a movie called Blink Twice with Channing Tatum, which looks like it's attempting to be like a Knives Out type movie.
Time out. What about the thing with him and Scarlett Johansson? When Fly Me to the Moon. There's like an astronaut movie.
I don't know if that's this summer. Isn't that fall?
Oh, is it fall? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw it when I went to the movies the other day, and I was like, this is a summer movie because it basically is.
There's a couple others, but those are things. So which one are you the most excited about? It sounds like you're the most excited for the bike riders.
I'm just sad because you didn't say, first of all, are there nothing is one lesson? I mean, obviously, I'm going to contradict myself 1,000 times when I say this, but like nothing with a woman, there's nothing, you didn't say anything.
Well, this is my limited research just on Boston.com.
I know, but even just what you said is kind of a bummer to me because it all kind of is so samey. Like even the biker movie, which you're right, of those movies, I kind of weirdly am into seeing Despicable Me 4.
I didn't mention this movie, but there's a movie called Janet Planet that might.
Oh, well, that's delightful.
That might fit your.
That's a wonderful
an indie movie. But I didn't consider like a big summer movie, but that's set in it's a Massachusetts acupuncturist.
Yeah,
and
Julianne
her 13-year-old
Nichols.
daughter. And people are fired up for that one. I should have mentioned that one. Yeah,
Julianne Nicholson, right? Isn't that right?
You're right. Fly Me to the Moon for some reason wasn't on Boston.com. So that's mid-July. You're right. That is Channing Tatum as a harried NASA director and Scarlett Johansson as a marketing whiz.
I don't know if this is based on a true story. It seems like Argo for space and there are no hostages, but it seems like they're gonna fake. It's like they're gonna fake the moon landing essentially, which I think could be based on a true story. It just sounds like a thing that probably happened.
Hunter Schafer's in a horror movie called Cuckoo. Probably could have mentioned that.
There's another person give me some at-bats because I don't know.
Right. And then when we get to the fall, now we're talking Joker 2 and
is that the Gaga one?
What do you mean?
That's the Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is
Lady Gaga seemingly playing Harley Quinn.
Yes.
We got Gladiator 2. We have a Lord of the Rings movie. We have Nosferatu.
It's like a wax museum. I was just walking down 42nd Street on the way here today, or on the way into the office actually. And there's a rock statue outside of it, Madame Tussauds. It is the most incredible likeness. I mean, from a half a block, I had never noticed it before. It is so incredible. You mean
of The Rock?
Of The Rock. He's in a suit. The proportions seem very correct. He is making the rockest face. Like it's a face you miss him making.
Does it look like he's trying to decide on a terrible script to make?
It's the face he can't even make when he goes back into the ring to pretend to wrestle. Now, like it's like there's no joy in this man anymore. And I just I was going down this list of movies just reminded me that like we are in the Madame Tussauds of summer movie going. Like it's just things that look exactly like things we already. Twisters. I mean, I really like Glenn Powell, and I watch him. I think I'm going to watch him. I'm going to want to watch him do anything. But Twisters, I don't know.